Psychoscientific Frontiers. Selected publications from a variety of subjects of psychoscientific research. 11 Letters from the World of Light. Greetings from Gilbert. Greetings from Gilbert is a small documentation about the genesis of a cosmic relationship and about the transcript of 11 letters. The 11 letters from Gilbert from the spheres of light are a passionate appeal to mankind to turn to love and peace. Introduction. Karen writes,
When Anna came to visit me one evening, she brought a pendulum and a disc with letters on it. She had learned to use the pendulum, and for a bit of fun, we wanted to find out whether it also worked without her teacher being present. Both of us had read all sorts of things in this regards, but we were not all that informed that we could feel all that comfortable about it. Excited anticipation and an oppressive feeling went through me as the candle burned and Anna said a protective prayer. We couldn't believe it. The pendulum in her hand moved immediately and rotated in wide circles in her absolutely steady hand. It was clear to me. Anna certainly didn't move the pendulum. The disc with letters and a specific yes-no system can make a comprehensible communication with invisible entities possible. And a conversation with a for us invisible plane of existence that was part of Anna's life, did indeed develop in this way. This contact was instantly absolutely believable for Anna and myself, and we didn't question anything. There were no speculations in regards to projections of the subconsciousness. Split of part of Anna's personality and similar things that one often hears as explanations from the sciences. It was for us exactly the way it presented itself. A conscious, intelligent entity talked to us and moved the pendulum. The fun part had come to an end. It had turned rather serious. I was fascinated and was called by my name in a friendly fashion. As I asked the question, only one sentence developed for me, and it was gradually formed one letter at a time. Gilbert will find something in the future. I was astonished. The name Gilbert was not a part of my own name repertoire. I never had any association with any Gilbert. I didn't know this Gilbert who wanted to find something for me. The pendulum remained silent to any further questions. I spent the next days somewhat at a loss, but with growing joy, and every time my thoughts touched upon Gilbert, a wave of joy welled up inside of me. This started my search for Gilbert. The whole thing happened a number of years ago. I was on my way, on this inner journey, like in a fairy tale. I learned, I read, I started to meditate, I lived more aware, became more open to vibrations, and I started an inner dialogue with the silent Gilbert, from whom I had assumed in the meantime that he was my direct guardian angel, patron saint or doorkeeper. I got closer to him, and in the process, and this might sound strange, I also got closer to God and his world of light. I often lost my way on this gradually more intensive search, wore out my shoes and lost my clothes as it were. I stood there naked and exposed until I arduously wove some new clothes for myself. I still had not found Gilbert, but the certainty that he was there was irrefutable. My inner journey ran parallel to an active life. I am a successful businesswoman from Frasdorf, near the Chiemsee, almost 50 years old with 2 grown-up sons. I am active, in good shape, mentally alert, not tied to religion, contact-friendly, and all in all, my opinion, a nice, confident woman. This woman did however lose her way on her search for Gilbert so totally that she needed guidance. The pendulum remained silent, tarot cards were too vague, her intuition failed, nobody trustworthy could help. But just at that time, when things went rather badly for me, I came in contact with a spiritual working group that quietly pursued its light work in a very objective manner. A male, full trance medium made the communication between the working groups in the here and now and the hereafter possible, and they make a concerted effort to have a healing effect on a lot of people. I was allowed to participate in one of their workshops. Even though I was somewhat more familiar with ghost stories and was able to classify the various phenomena into learned and recognized, my throat and my stomach were tied in knots. The circle leader from the realm of spirit eventually talked to me via the medium, and I was allowed to ask my questions. What an overwhelming moment! I forgot about the tingling sensation in my stomach and asked for information about Gilbert. I will never forget that moment. I found out that Gilbert exists and that he is my spirit teacher, Gilbert was found. Astonished and moved, I found out that I was psychically gifted and that a cooperation between myself and Gilbert was provided for in the plan wherein I was going to work as a writing medium. I was speechless and hardly able to absorb the rest of the probably important course of the evening. I was over the moon about the existence of Gilbert, but everything else rather confused me. I was advised to be patient and to trust in the future. My external life continued. Changes, new people, success, joy, a lot of work in a field filled with challenges and confirmations and good friends. My search for Gilbert had come to an end, but waiting for him has now started. My internal journey continued, but I walked this path without human guidance. I was filled with confidence and attentiveness and full of longing. One evening, whilst I was reading, I had this feeling, I may now use the pendulum. I sat at the table and the pendulum that had been quiet for such a long time came to life and rotated, as if it was joyful. It then started, without being asked, to indicate letters. The following sentence eventuated. Gilbert.
The time has come.
I was pleased, I was excited, I almost screamed, "Are you Gilbert? Gilbert?"
Yes, the time to really write has come.
Now was the time. Gilbert wanted to write with me. It had started. Incredible. I ran and I rejoiced. I went and fetched the large sheet of paper that I had prepared for this purpose and I talked to Gilbert the whole time. As I sat with pen in hand in front of the piece of paper and expected that Gilbert would now use my arm as an instrument in order to write down all the things that I had asked before, to answer me, nothing at all happened. Only my arm went to sleep and I became impatient. I finally asked whether I did something wrong. Gilbert answered through the pendulum. Gilbert.
Gilbert is only allowed to write freely.
Just like that. Gilbert.
Yes.
What are we going to write about? Gilbert.
Intuition.
About the forest. Gilbert.
Take a pencil.
I picked up the pencil and Gilbert, my spirit teacher, wrote for the first time the following text through me, but I can unfortunately not say how. Gilbert.
The forest in its love is a part of the whole. I love the forest in its magnitude and its dark green. Those that walk through the forest hear the birds twitter and they feel the springy ground under their feet. For as long as there are forests, the earth will exist, because the forest is an inexhaustible reservoir of visible and invisible forces that want to serve mankind with their love. Those that recognize the purpose of the forest and love it, also love their fellowmen. I come from a long way. I am Karen's friend and I love you both. Did you now understand?
This small text virtually flowed at great speed through my pencil. These were somehow my words, but it was not my text. Yes, I had happened, Gilbert talked to me, a communication between one level of existence and another had developed and I had no idea whatsoever how this functioned and why it specifically worked with me. I was naturally thrilled, I was naturally grateful and delighted, but I understood nothing at all. A long process of questions and answers began and it continued. For many reasons, our relationship became very involved and over the course of time, our common work goal became apparent. One part of it are the 11 letters that Gilbert wrote to mankind through me. I am somewhat at a loss, but still fascinated and full of love and gratitude. This is how it was and is and I cannot change it. Gilbert writes this 16th of January 1993. Gilbert.
Karen and me are connected to one another through countless incarnations. We have lived together over again and often as a couple. Our love also unified us and the spirit lives in between, something that happens only seldom and we thank God for this grace. I was often Karen's spirit guide and she was occasionally mine when we lived through an incarnation without one another. The deep relationship, grown over a long time, is the channel that makes a communication possible. We are tuned into one another and the vibrations are on an aligned frequency to such a degree that Karen can catch, respectively write down my thoughts without actually hearing them directly. She is a good medium and my transmissions are received with great reliability. We are grateful that she was allowed to develop her talent. Our love is a bridge between the world where we build up our service for the divine beingness. We thank God and we honor Him.
Karen says this. Gilbert wrote these letters through me over a period of a number of weeks in succession. As I also have quite an accurate idea how something has to be, we discussed various comments made by me at the end. Gilbert has basically not allowed himself to be influenced too much. The style should be in such a way that it is generally understood, its content beseechingly and, in spite of the unfamiliar thoughts, logically understandable, the mood serious and caring. I find that he succeeded, and what remains for me to do is to fulfill his wish, namely to make these letters accessible to the broadest possible public. I have probably turned into a veritable knower, the difference being that I don't go from door to door to raise my voice admonishing. I will have to take Gilbert's warning to people in a different way. Maybe you who read this could be our multiplicators. Hand the text on to others and this will make a start. How will it all pan out? I have no idea. One thing I know for sure, I can sympathize with the content of Gilbert's letters and I will therefore follow his recommendations.